Welcome into another episode of Who Should You Choose, the video series where I go through the prior videos, questions, and comments and help you with your hot lineup decisions. However, I want to start this episode for anyone that watches Who Should You Choose. You're going to get some insider info, or not really info, but an update in regards to some things hot because we actually have some communication from the content team. So, number one, Power Up Icon sets and X Factor series sets are year-long sets that can be completed anytime throughout the year. So, Connor McDavid, you don't have to worry about when season 2 happens that you won't be able to make them. That's going to stay all year long. So, that is good to see. Love that it is staying throughout the season. And then when series 2 comes out, there will just be a new charged player, I'm assuming. This one is pretty big and a W. Okay. Season XP weekly objectives will remain active until the end of the season. Each week will add a new set of season XP. So for new players joining HUT, they can focus on completing weekly objectives to catch up on the current season XP path. Huge W. So as I've stated, that if you are a free-to-play player that does not have a lot of time to play the game, what you want to do is at least just focus on the weekly objectives because you get 45,000 XP every week towards the XP path. So essentially you can get half of the entire XP path done with just those weekly objectives throughout the 8 weeks of the season. Huge W to allow them to just stay so they're not like, if you miss a week, now you're 50,000 XP behind. It looks like they're just going to stack in the objectives. That is a massive win, and I'm super happy that they went that route for the player base because you'll be able to earn that throughout the seasons. Competitive weekly objectives will reset each week and must be completed within the current week. So those competitive objectives, those feature like the mega pack, or they feature some packs, which are tradable, by the way, which is nice, as well as about 30,000 coins. Those are pretty good objective paths. Those will reset each week. So you want to probably put a focus on that more than anything if you've got some extra time, just because they do give some decent rewards throughout the season. So that being said, let's get into today's Who Should You Choose? As we go through it again, I'm searching by just kind of top rated comments and going through that. I picked a few, and then we'll go to whoever commented first and go up. You can't show it on the screen because it's higher, but it's funny. I had Casa and he started playing bad, so I switched to Kemper. More proof that goalies don't matter. Again, this is in regards to the last episode where I had stated that Darcy Kemper, the XP one, was just god awful for me. Could not win a game and make a save, whereas the base Casa has been probably one of the best goalies I've ever used. It reminds me of Markstrom last year, and this guy's saying that the opposite has happened in his, which is funny. I have two questions. I can make base X Factor cards through sets. Do I do it knowing I'm never getting the 87 McDavid? And I'm also a no money spent player. Is there any way to get fantasy card players without spending any money? My guess is no, but I'm not sure. So he's saying you can get base X Factor cards through sets. Do I do it knowing, as my camera shuts off, give me 1 second here, fellas, as knowing that he's never going to get McDavid? If you know that you're never going to get McDavid, in terms of your value, I would recommend doing the holograms probably instead, unless you have a favorite player that's in the captains, simply because the holograms kind of operate like McDavid. They're not as good, in my opinion, but they're kind of better than the captains. So that's what I would probably do. When it comes to no money spent for fantasy players, what they'll do is they'll give you enough objectives to probably get about halfway there to a fantasy card, and then you'll have to use all of your resources during the fantasy event to try and get it. You should be able to get one fantasy card, but we'll have to wait and see. Any tips for beating goalies on All-Star and Superstar? Only thing that works are perfect one-timers from the defense. Honestly, that is the most effective way in NHL 25 to score. Low far side still works, not as effective as NHL 24, where you just kind of cut into the middle and go low far side. But honestly, just spamming D2D one-timers with Crash the Net on, where everyone's just in front, is probably the best way to do it offline. Paul Coffey leads my team in points. Thought everyone loved him. Again, it's so funny when it comes to the everyone's experience with individual cards, right? Sometimes it's universal, and then sometimes you just, like I said, Paul Decaf for me has been one of my worst players that I've used so far, which is kind of funny. We've got, I love that Sleeves has openly said he doesn't know what's going to happen with the fantasy event. Yet there are still tons of comments in here asking what to do. No one knows, guys. This whole year has been a crapshoot. No one knows what's going to happen except EA, and I don't think that they know what they're doing either. Low key, I think that they kind of fly by the seat of their pants a little bit as I'm having camera issues during this video, so I do apologize, but we'll just kind of keep on rolling here. So, when it comes to the fantasy event, like I said, it should operate somewhat the same, but I don't know. Like I said, if you really want to be safe, you just hold everything over the next 2 weeks. We know the fantasy event's coming. Just legitimately hold on to every card, and that's probably the safest way. 81 overall is going for cheaper than 79s. I'm going all in. Anything under 9.5K, I'm buying up. Again, this is in response to yesterday where I talked about how 80, or someone in the comments said that 82s are going for really cheap or 81s are going for very cheap. I'm buying all those instead. Blanket rule, guys. Okay, I think that what I've, again, I impact the market too much, and there's a comment in here that kind of highlights that. But if you look at cards that are not being used in sets, so let's take 82s for example, okay? And the 82 overall is going for, I'm going to give a number, 10,000 coins. And at 81 is going for roughly the same. At some point in the year, 82s will be used, and you will make a ton of money. It is not guaranteed that it will be in a week. It is not guaranteed it will be in a month. But at some point, those cards will be useful in sets, and the price will spike. So if you are looking to invest, that is how I would recommend doing it. I'm not going to give you a price point, but anytime that you see an overall that is not being used and you see that the card right below it in overall is going for roughly the same price, that is a pretty good investment when just kind of a blanket rule, okay? Hey, Slaves, one thing I was wondering about was the drop in overalls this year. But rise in overall in sets, like why is the lowest 75 instead of 74? Again, in the background, EA has like an economy bot or whatever in terms of the values of cards. And the problem is that they value cards so much differently than the player base does. And, it's kind of unfortunate there. In previous videos, you said to use offhand principle for creating a lineup. Does this go for just wingers or defensemen also? For most cases, I'm fine with defenders being in position, but occasionally I would love them to switch places. There really should be a quick action to switch a player position between faceoffs because this is situational in every game. If the goal is to achieve the IRL experience of the game, I would love this. Don't have any ideas yet of implementation. That'd be kind of sick if you could change a quick change, like a little lineup there off of a draw. When it comes to offhand, more than ever, do you want your defenseman on the offhand? Because one-timers are the premier way to score. And that has really always been the case for NHL video games. And I wish that they would reward, I don't want to say that because maybe they'll end up doing it, but I wish that playing a player out of position, you ended up getting like nixed a little bit, like getting nerfed a little bit. Kind of like an MLB where it's like they're playing out of position. But it would make it more like the real thing. But I don't really, I don't want them to do that. I'm just curious as how that would play out, with the player base. And in the span of 7 hours, 82s went from 10K to 14K, all because of you, LOL. Not upset. It's just funny how you mentioned you can't play the game like everyone else because whenever you buy and use, just goes up in value. This is exactly it, boys. This is what I was talking about yesterday. Unfortunately, when I talk about a value of a card, it's just going to destroy it in value, and I don't like that happens, which is why I don't give you guys a lot of like, you buy this card for this X price. It's just it's always the same kind of thing. It's why I try to give you like blanket statements. Like I said, whenever there's an overall that's higher going for the same price as a lower overall, you really just have to figure out like that eventually will become a little bit more in value. Slaves, love the videos. I've been trading in my cards and stockpiling Team of the Week collectibles. I believe I will get great cards this way, especially given the fact that X Factors and Icons are too expensive. Thoughts? I have a decent team. My top 6 forwards are Mac, Matthews, McDavid, Pasta, Pedersen, and Hughes. I think that after seeing Team of the Wallet be released, This one isn't worth it, but if you stockpiled a bunch of Team of the Week collectibles and didn't use them this week, like if you got the ones for free, right? Like I think there's 9 total you can get for free, and you just saved those and didn't chase any of the stuff this week, but then like maybe in 3 weeks, if you can make new ones, then like utilize that. That's probably the way to go about Team of the Week. Hey, Sleeves just wondering which game breaker set is better to do. Should I do the 80 tradable or 82 untradeable or 84 BND? If you are a standard edition player, you didn't get the pre-order cards and all of that, I would probably go with the 84 BND just simply because those cards will be very impactful for your team in Zibanejad and Riley. Everyone else, I would recommend doing the 80 plus and shooting your shot because it is tradable. Do you think they should give more XP from rivals for lower division players? Because I'm having a hard time getting to Division 4. This is always going to be like a give and take when it comes, because honestly, I think Division 1 players don't get enough to justify them having to play against Division 1 players. It's always going to be this kind of like battle in terms of how much is given. The only thing I would say is if your skill level is getting to Division 4, what difficulty can you play on squad battles? Because if you get more playing squad battles, that's when I think that we should look at that kind of difficulty and whatnot. So, hey slaves, thanks again for all the great content. I hope you feel better soon. I'm getting closer to my first X Factor captain, and I'm leaning towards Nylander or Kucherov. Any suggestion would be great. Personally, in a vacuum, I would go Nylander simply because there aren't as many great right-handers as there are left-handers on the wing, and Nylander with that elite edges is always going to be a really sneaky good skater because he is kind of big, he's heavy. Kucherov with 1T, my issue there is that wingers with 1T, it's harder to get them in position for a one-timer to be worth 2 ability points. That's literally 33% of your ability points. Whereas a defenseman with 1T, you can pump him silly with that, right? So, Brindamore and Sakic, big wow. 2 great cards. Honestly, 2 of the best cards. Hey, Slaves, I want a new left wing, and I think who I would buy, Nylander or David Pastrnak. Pasternak's going to cost you way more, but looks to be one of the best right-handed wingers in the game. Nylander should be a little bit cheaper. I'd probably go Nylander just because of the value. Had Costa since day 2, bought for 8K. After I sold Hellebuck, he's been one of, if not the best goalies I've ever had, and we all know how we feel about goalies. But yeah, he's solid, kind of like Markstrom was for you last year. Yeah, Costa has been absolutely lights out. But again, as you saw in the comment above, it's not going to be for everyone. They need to give XP for moments. Not fair that playing the game doesn't give you progress towards leveling up. I agree. It is odd to me that they're adding moments to like at such a high clip to get content. Like it's a driver there, and maybe they assume, or maybe they say that, or they're thinking that like we're giving you rewards that are decent via live moments, so they don't want you to double dip. I don't know, but it should be however you play. You should get XP pack for playing World of Chell and franchise mode if they really wanted to promote Hut even more and get players to play. The biggest change that I haven't seen yet, or I haven't seen much discussion for, is the newest competitive objectives now give tradable packs. I opened the first 2 and I got 174, while the rest were 75 to 81, all tradable. The final reward is a mega pack, which I assume is 12 cards. I think it's only 8. This is a massive influx of tradable cards to the market, and if it stays a weekly thing, will definitely lower prices. I think the Elite Pack had 4 cards, so my estimate is that you will get 20 plus tradable cards that can actually be used in sets every week. You can grind those 30 wins out in 2-minute squad battles versus semi-pro, so it's very achievable to complete a big part of the player base. It is nice and definitely something that's sorely needed, but as you've seen, the price still isn't coming down because literally everything, including Team of the Week now, needs 75 and above player items. Like, there's too much. Like, we would need thousands for the player base to kind of see a massive reduction, but it does help for sure. One thing small update on the Elite Pack. I just opened it. The pack contained 5 cards, 76 to 80 overall, again, all tradable. We're going to be getting over 20 tradable cards that required by the chase set cards. This change alone will be pushing prices down as we are getting more useful cards per week than the whole 55-day XP pack. Again, major issue with the 55-day XP path is the fact that we're just like 7 cards above 77. But yes, it does help, but I don't think it'll be enough. I don't think it'll be enough to move the needle. One thing I wish they would add is an open all pack option. I just noticed the relist all expired auctions button today and was so relieved. P.S. Longtime Sleeves fan, was awesome to hear my comment while listening and doing some housework. Love that, buddy. Yeah, 100%, dude. I mean, dude, the X Factor and Power Up Icon pack, bro. The fact that it takes 20 minutes to open that pack. Has anyone else noted that packs are giving out more 75 plus cards? I think that's obviously on purpose, and it's a great change. I still don't think it's enough, but it's better than it was. 85 Swayman, is he worth the coins? No goalie is ever worth an exceptional amount of coins, guys. Only get Swayman for the price that he's going for if you are a Bruins fan. Pat LaFontaine has been my favorite card so far, such a stud winner. Pat LaFontaine is always like a pretty good launch card. He's just a very good skater. I've been watching for years. I can tell by watching that you're such a genuine good dude. I hope you take care of yourself during this busy time, bro. I appreciate that. 38 likes on that, guys. Thank you. It means a lot. But, I'm just playing video games and trying my best here. Is there an argument for the holding pattern path where you save all cards, points, and cherry pick events as the season progresses? What, other than some new hotness cards, is the casual free-to-player missing out on when you can't really go all in on the whole event and its rewards without draining your capital or spending real money? I guess Who Should You Choose is even more relevant because of that change in HUT event accessibility. Love the content and feel better. Yeah, like I said, everyone's like, just hold on to stuff, right? Just hold on to stuff. And that's boring to me. I hate that because it's like such a blanket thing, and it's like it's just, you're not playing the game. You know, you're playing the market, you're playing the future of it. Yeah, and I understand why it's important, but I hate that. I think that the holding pattern is spend your coins on cards that interest you, try them out, and if they work great, sick. If they don't, sell them back very quickly so that you're not losing a ton of coins. I think that's just like how it goes. I think that's the way that it should be. When it comes to free to play and events, usually they give enough, just enough to get a free MSP, which is huge. Hey, No Sleeves, a question and a comment. Been following for years and even got to play you a few times. Thank you for being critical and truthful and not being overly negative like some of your fellow YouTubers. The game is far from perfect, but some things are getting better, and the gameplay is the best it's ever been. Now, on to my question. Would this not be the best way to use our stockpile of BNDs? Everyone, including me, hates getting these count-bound cards, but as I'm getting ready for the fantasy event and preparing for the possibility, I may need to put my fourth line and third pair D pair into sets and make a fantasy MSP. Then I remembered I have a ton of BNDs, and these will be perfect as a temporary fourth line and third D pair. I need to sacrifice all of them. 100%. Like, everyone is annoyed because they're just in their collection and you can't do anything with them. And like, I understand, like, as someone who doesn't, you just want, that's OCD probably. But there are going to come times, like Bowen Byram is a perfect example. That Bowen Byram card, when you want to trade in, let's say, for the cover athlete, and you've got Chris Pronger or someone along those lines at the cover athlete event that you need to lose to make a card, Bowen Byram can slide right in. And you can use him even though he's account bound. But that is a bonus. I think why everyone's annoyed is that they just think that every card should be untradeable, which I do as well. But at least I think I think the way that account bound cards work well is the McDavid Supercharged sets. You're not losing all of your value. But I don't want them to go overboard. Like when they put B&D sets in like objectives or moments, that's silly to me. Hey, Slaves, I know you're a busy guy, but have you ever considered doing a series revolving around a theme team? I know the market is in shambles, but I do think it'd be an interesting idea once more cards are released. AHL, OHL players who are serviceable. It would allow for more personal content opposed to Q&A style, which I love. Keep up the content. You make my workday go much faster. Cheers. Edit. Love the Ice Dogs hat. Big fan of Ryan and Dylan Robrick. Love that, buddy. Yeah, man, I would love to be a little more creative. I find that when I start doing that kind of stuff, it takes me far longer than all of my other content because informative content is much easier to do in the sense of like, okay, this is what you should be doing. Now I just have to make it in a prettier package. It's something that I don't really excel at. I am going to do a franchise mode video series about my Sharks because franchise mode's in a really good spot. So hopefully I get to flex the creative muscles a little bit there. But when it comes to HUT, because I'm still like, a Division II player, right? I don't have the luxury. I'm not good enough to make up for the fact that where I finish and play most of my games, I can use a pure theme team. And I know winning isn't everything, but man, is it frustrating to lose. So I'm kind of in this spot where I kind of have to use the cards that kind of work the most. And I know a lot of people are kind of in that similar boat. They think the same way. They want to win more, which is why I kind of go with the idea of like, use these cards. These are effective, right? I would love to do a theme team series, but it's just not something that like I want to say I don't have enough time for. Probably the best way to describe it. Sleeves, the 4,600 points we got from the pre-order, do you recommend burning those early or waiting for better packs? What do you recommend buying with them, especially with the new style of hut? Honestly, if you're still holding on to them, which is a good thing because that means you've listened, there isn't a pack that's out yet that is worth it. I will tell you when there is, but honestly, yeah, you're probably saving until the fantasy event if you still are holding them. Here's my strats I've been using since the update, and it's been working for me. Keep in mind, I'm mainly offline player. 1-2 passive, neutral zone trap, 2-3 stay close, type point, and collapsing. When it comes to offline play, guys, when you lose the puck, collapsing and being very passive and waiting for the AI to make a mistake is what I would recommend. You don't want to be overly aggressive because they'll end up being breakaways. They're super good at that, so I can see why this is working well for you. With the upcoming fantasy event, should we be holding onto our packs for a better chance of pulling a fantasy card, especially since our rewards are low overall? Never expect to pull a fantasy card, guys. You can save all the packs in the world. If you really want to play it safe, then yeah, go ahead and save all your packs. But the odds of pulling a fantasy card is 1%. So for everyone that makes a Reddit post and be like, oh my God, look at this pull, there's 99,000 other people that just like don't pull anything. So bonjour, sleeves from Blightly. Thank you for all you do in the community. I need some how to help. I'm pretty casual, free to play offline player, all-star on squad battles. When my player is pinned to the boards fighting for the puck, what am I supposed to do? Is it a case of button mashing, or is there a specific button move I should be using here? R2, switch the player. You need to switch off that player, and you need to bring in a supporting player to try and get the puck back if you're pinned up along the boards. I'm looking forward to your strategies video, hoping you show us some good plays we can set up in the offensive third. I tend to cycle the puck in the hope of eventually something opens up, but there's no real method to it. I would also be great to see some tips for breaking the puck out. I'm your typical casual noob who just tries to race up the board, so a better idea of how to skate past my way through the middle will be great. I can't wait to make my strategies video, guys. It's always a video that I love doing. And I think this year I can really help. So, Ratsy says 3-part comment. As a work from home person who's grinding hut, I'm on pace to get Eichel Saturday, and it has not been worth it. Yeah, no duh. The only advantage is I'll have him for when I get back to Rivals, but in my opinion, not worth the many, 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 many hours of squad battles I have endured. Yeah, that's terrible. Content is a mixed bag this year. There's some wins like Tuesday's content being able to make cards we want, like Team of the Week, but these sets are too expensive and we have no fodder and the lack of fodder as well. Exactly. Tuesday was a win. Wednesday was another L. So also, like, the people that do this and grind for Eichel are the people that then go, God, there's nothing to do. This game sucks. So prepare for that. Sleeves, you mentioned the insane Costa jump in price. He was recording this Who Should You Choose live on stream. At the time, 82s were 12.5 and many up. 4 hours after posting this episode, the cheapest is 15K. Just a friendly reminder, any market mentioned in Sleeves' Twitch chat or here raises the price of cards. Exactly, and I do apologize for that. I don't enjoy that. I don't take advantage of it. It just is what it is, and it stinks, but that's why I don't get to take part in the market like you guys do. Like I mentioned, I don't get to play the same game that you guys do for the most part. And hey, it's part of the spotlight. That's the good comes with the bad sometimes. That is going to do it for this episode of Who Should You Choose? I really apologize that my really nice camera does not seem to be working, that I'm going to have to fix. So thank you guys for enduring that. I really apologize, and I will see you later on. Expect episode 2 of No Money Spent up today, and we will get our week 2 event launch as well this Friday. And be sure to come through the stream as we check out the new content today. Have a good one, guys.